Okay, so let's get ourselves ready. So get your mat and blanket over the top of your mat. Just give you a little bit of extra cushioning. Just lay yourself, just get yourself ready. And if you feel like you might be a little chilly, get a blanket to cover yourself with as well. Have a bolster for underneath your knees, a couple of blocks for your feet. So we'll just begin as usual with our just basic relaxation pose, which is just a way of preparing yourself for relaxation, because you can't just say relax and then that's it, can you? It takes a little while to find that level where you can just let yourself relax. So our basic relaxation pose is a good way to prepare ourselves for just the release that we require for relaxation. Remember, just adjust your equipment until it feels like it's in the right place. And then it's good to take your glasses off if you're wearing them. And also, it's good to just cover your eyes if you can, just to kind of block out the light. So if you can put a eye pillow or a flannel over your face, just over your eyes, just to allow the room to darken a little. Allow there to be a gentle weight on the eyes, just so that you can release and relax. So just get yourself comfortable, move about as much as you need to in order to find your level of comfort. Listen to the sound of your breath. It just draws your attention inward. So the sound of the breath draws your attention into the physicality of the body. Just mentally scan the body for areas of tension or discomfort, and consciously direct your out breath into those regions, just to create a little release from tension. Just observe the body where it connects to the floor. Observe where the equipment lifts the body and supports the body, and observe how the equipment helps the lumbar spine to become a little flatter into the floor. If it's not doing that, then just adjust until it is, drawing the sacrum spine down away from the lower back, drawing the buttock flesh down towards the backs of the legs. Consciously take deep inhalations, filling both lungs evenly, and deep exhalations, emptying both lungs evenly. As you inhale, observe that the chest rises upwards and outwards. And as you exhale, your chest lowers and gently contracts, relaxing between the intercostal muscles between the ribs. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Observing the difference between the in-breath and the out-breath. Just maintaining your focus on even in breaths and even out breaths. So it's the first stage of Ujjayi pranayama, becoming attentive to the breath. As you inhale, observe that the rib cage stretches the intercostal muscles between the ribs. As you exhale, those intercostal muscles relax. Every now and then you're likely to forget to focus on your breath. Don't worry about that. Just as soon as you remember again, just draw your attention back to the breath. So breathing into both lungs evenly, breathing out of both lungs evenly. So as you inhale, you accept the universal energy that surrounds us, drawing that energy into the body, communing with the universal energy that surrounds us. In terms of yogic breath, we talk about ingesting prana from the breath. Prana is that universal life energy. In purely scientific terms, you could define drawing in of the breath as an ingestion of oxygen, bringing in ever deeper inhalations, filling the lungs with oxygen, and then releasing, filling up with oxygen, emptying. Just observing the process of inhaling and exhaling. With each exhalation, observe that your body releases and relaxes a little more. Just allowing the tension to release with each exhalation. The in-breath remedies tiredness, the out-breath aids relaxation. So just focusing on the expansion and contraction of the chest with the breath, the evenness of the in-breath and the out-breath, and the sounds of the breath. As you become more accustomed to observing the breath, maybe you notice that the breath just becomes a little deeper. Don't force that, just observe it. So in a moment, we're going to bring ourselves into a different position and focus on the next stage of pranayama, of Ujjayi pranayama, which is an extended inhalation, normal exhalations. Just allow yourself to continue. Just stay down for a moment or two longer. Just allow yourself to continue to just observe the breath. Observe the breath as observe the breath as you just listen to the sound. Okay, when you're ready, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bend your knees, just rest your feet on the bolster for a moment, just let your lower back just gently rest into the floor. And then roll onto your right side. Just uncover your eyes and then sit yourself up. So when you've been wearing a eye pillow, it can make your eyes feel a little blurry at first. Don't worry about that. You'll recover from that fairly quickly. So get a bolster for your back. And if you've got another bolster, it's nice to have a bolster for your knees as well. If you've got your blanket as well, put the blanket at the end of the mat, just so that you're going to lift and open your chest. So you just sit along the bolster. I'll show you. So you're going to come down onto the bolster and then just lift and open the chest. So you can either just have your legs bent like this, or if you want to, you can bring your feet together. So your feet are on top of the bolster. The bolster is lifted and open. If there's stiffness in your hips, you can support your thighs with some blocks. But otherwise, just come into this butterfly pose, this Supta kind of shape. Make sure that when you come down onto the chest bolster, that your head isn't rolling back, your chin isn't higher than your forehead. Just pick up the base of your skull and lengthen the base of the skull onto the blanket. And again, cover your eyes. And then just go back to that first stage of Ujjayi pranayama. Just observing the breath. The body will feel different. So just observe how the body feels different to start off with. Observe that the chest is lifted and more open, and maybe that gives you a deeper inhalation, deeper exhalation. But don't aim to deepen the breath for the moment. So the first stage of Ujjayi pranayama is just becoming attentive to the breath, just observing the breath, observing how the breath makes the chest rise upwards and inwards, upwards and outwards even, sorry. And as you exhale, chest lowers and ribs contract a little, relax. So just going back to that phase of breathing. So if the bolsters aren't comfortable, then adjust until they are. So continue just to observe the breath for the moment. I'll explain the second stage of Ujjayi pranayama, which is where you extend the out breath. I think I said the in breath earlier on. That's not right. You start at stage 2 is extending the out breath. So it's normal inhalations. It's normal inhalations, observing all of the things that you were observing with stage 1, just the lifting and the opening of the chest with the in-breath and the contraction of the ribs with the out-breath. So it's a normal inhalation and a slow, deep and steady exhalation until the lungs feel empty. So it's usually where the sound of the breath stops, is when the lungs are empty. And then when the lungs are empty, just a normal inhalation, and then continue cycling around slow, deep, steady exhalations until the lungs feel empty, and then normal in-breaths. Whenever you're ready, take a normal exhalation, a normal inhalation, and then slow, deep, steady exhalation until the lungs feel empty, and then normal inhalation, and then continue with that cycle. So normal inhalations and slow, deep and steady exhalations until the lungs feel empty, exhaling evenly from both lungs and then inhaling evenly into both lungs. We're just continuing to focus on normal inhalations and slow, deep exhalations until both lungs feel empty. Normal inhalations, slow, deep, steady exhalations. Every now and then you'll probably forget to focus on the breath. In that case, just as soon as you realise, just go back to the breath. Don't worry about it, just allow yourself to go back to the breath. Slow, deep, steady exhalations, normal inhalation. So don't force the breath, just allow the breath to just energize the body. So there should be no strain, no tension, just observation and longer exhalations. And then bring your breath back to a normal rhythm. Just no longer extending the out breath, just observing the breath as we did it right at the beginning. And then just straighten your legs out. If you're in Baddha, just straighten your legs out, let the bolster support the backs of your knees. Again, when you're ready, just gently uncover your eyes, push yourself up into a seated position, and then just come into cross legs. So we're going to stay largely the same, but we're going to slightly kind of tilt our back bolster. So get yourself a couple of blocks, and one block is going to be up on its edge like that, and the next one is going to be down kind of on a lower edge. So you're just supporting the bolster so it comes up onto an angle like this. So just get the blocks in place so that they're going to be relatively firm. And then again, you keep the bolster for your knees, underneath your knees, and then you're just going to keep your legs straight, and then just guide yourself down. Again, if your head feels like it rolls back a little bit, then just get a blanket for underneath your head. Just remember, comfort is really important. And again, if you can, cover your eyes, then cover your eyes with your eye pillow or your flannel or your blanket. Just have the palms facing upwards if you can. Now, if it's not comfortable having your arms on the floor, then if you've got any other blocks or bolsters nearby, then you can put the blocks just for your arms, just so that they kind of sit more comfortably. So stage 3 pranayama, just go back to stage 1. That's just the basic observation of the breath. So your arms just feel gentle, palms facing upwards if you can. Just support your elbows and your forearms. They don't reach the floor easily. Just listen to the sound of the breath. And just observing the breath as it enters and as it exits. So stage 3 of Ujjayi pranayama is where we just extend the in-breath slightly. So a slow, deep and steady inhalation and a normal exhalation. So as you inhale, you just observe that both lungs fill evenly, the chest rises upwards and outwards, and that you breathe in until the sound of the breath stops, which usually indicates that the lungs are full. And then just a normal exhalation. So slow, deep, steady inhalation, observing the upward and outward expansion of the chest, breathing evenly into both lungs, and inhaling until the lungs feel full and that the sound of the breath stops, and then normal exhalation. So when you're ready, just take a normal exhalation, normal inhalation, normal exhalation, and then slow, deep, steady inhalation until the lungs feel full. and normal exhalations. So consciously inhaling until the sound of the breath stops. Normal exhalations. Normal exhalations, slow, deep, steady inhalations. If you want to, you can just retain the breath at the top of the inhalation, just for a moment or two, before you go back to normal exhalation. There should be no constriction in the chest or around the throat or around the head. So each deeper inhalation becomes an opportunity to just draw in more oxygen, more prana into the body, to energize the body. There should be no tension with the breath at all. Again, if you forget to observe the breath, and extend the in-breath, just go back to that breathing as soon as you realize. Inhaling until the lungs feel full. Normal exhalations. So we can, in a moment, move into stage 4 of Ujjayi pranayama without having to change our position. So in a moment, just bring your breath back to a normal rhythm, just again observing the in-breath, observing the out-breath, no longer extending either of the breaths for the moment. Just going back to Ujjayi stage 1. Just the observation of the sound of the breath, of the feeling of the chest rising and accommodating the breath, and the sounds of the exhalation and the shape of the chest as you exhale. So just bringing your breath back to that natural rhythm. Just listening to the breath. So stage 1 of Ujjayi pranayama brings attentiveness to the brain. It invigorates the nerves and prepares the lungs for deep breathing. Stage 2, where we extend the out breath, soothes the nerves and calms the brain. Just creating a sense of calmness if you're prone to feeling anxious. Stage 3, where we extend on slow, deep and steady inhalations, helps with low blood pressure and respiratory issues and depression. It invigorates the nervous system and brings a sense of self-esteem. So the final stage of our 4-stage pranayama, Ujjayi pranayama, is where we combine stages 2 and 3. So we breathe in, filling the lungs evenly on both sides, breathing in until the lungs feel full, and then we exhale until the lungs feel empty. So slow, deep and steady inhalation, slow, deep and steady exhalation until the lungs steadily feel empty. And this stage brings energy. It soothes the nerves and helps the body absorb greater degrees of oxygen. So when you're ready, we'll move into stage 4. So we always start with a normal exhalation, and then a normal inhalation, and then slow, deep, steady exhalations, slow, deep, steady inhalations. Inhaling until the lungs are full, exhaling until the lungs are empty. So whenever you're ready, a normal inhalation, normal exhalation, normal inhalation, and then slow, deep, steady exhalation, slow, deep, steady inhalation. Okay, and then just bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. Just normal in breaths, normal out breaths, no longer extending either of the breaths. Just perhaps feel how the limbs become lighter as you energize the body with the breath. And when you've brought your breath back to a normal rhythm, just push yourself up into a seated position. Just move the bolster from underneath your back, move the blocks out of the way. Keep the blocks from underneath your knees. Just for the last couple of minutes, just lay down on the floor, just without anything underneath the chest. You can still cover your eyes. Just go back to normal breathing. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Feel that you can just completely release the body into the floor. Observe your energy as it rises to the uppermost skin. And use your in-breath and your out-breath to evenly distribute that feeling of lightness down into the tips of the toes, into the tips of the fingers, and into the top of the head. Just basking in that glow of positive energy that the breath work brings to the body and to the mind. And then wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. And then bend your knees, just bring your feet onto the bolster, have the knees together, just gently remove the eye covering if you were wearing it. And then just roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this evening, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the pranayama brings to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, just gently allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Don't worry too much if your eyes are a little blurry after. Thank you very much. Don't worry if your eyes are a little blurry after having the eye covering. It will cover up after a couple of seconds. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you.